You're listening to the 49 Carats Podcast, a 49ers Goldmine production with Stephanie Sanchez.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another edition of the 49 Carats Podcast. I'm your host, Steph. It is Thursday, September 5th. The NFL season officially starts back up today. We've got Chiefs Ravens tonight. We are so pumped about it, and I am pumped because this is the first Thursday show of the season. Going to be doing a weekly show with Monica here of Football is Sexy. Monica, how you doing today?
Girl, let's effing go.
Yes.
Oh my God. The football depression is over. I can't even believe it. It's an exciting time. It is an exciting time. And I'm so excited to be doing this with you. Thank you for having me on. I can't wait. It's going to be so much fun. Let's do this, girl.
Yeah, I'm so excited to have you on. And those of you who don't know about Monica, I had her on my show this summer, actually. We had a lot of questions about this team that we'll talk about, but she has an awesome platform called Football is Sexy. Instagram page, it's off the hook, 40,000+ followers, an awesome app. We'll talk more about it. I'll let her go off on the awesome world that is Football is Sexy. But again, Monica, thank you so much for joining me. This season, really excited to have you on, but let's just jump into 49ers stuff here, right? Because the last time I did have you on, it was off season. There were so many questions this off season, and coming off a Super Bowl loss, we were like, can they do it again? Right? So this past week, I must say there were a lot of, I guess, the latest updates on this team have been very positive, I will say, as of late. This last week has been crazy. It's been an emotional roller coaster, but I would say we're on the up and up. It's looking good now going into this week 1 game after all the uncertainty. So what is your vibe with all the positive news the 49ers have gotten into the last week?
Thank God. I think Brandon Ayuk said it best when he said, maybe it didn't have to be this way, or maybe I made things a little harder than it needed to be. And I think all the faithful agree, because it has been a lot. But we're here. We have all our guys back. I never doubted it for a minute that we were going to have Trent back. I don't think anyone did. We knew they had to make that work. You have to protect Brock. That's not a question. The only, I think, uncertainty was the whole Brandon Ayuk situation, because that really, to me, could have been 50-50 and at sometimes 70-30. And that got a little dicey, spicy.
Mm-hmm.
But, and I did a reel about it. I'm like, okay, if the Niners as an organization and the players can get past the drama that happened in off season, the flirting with all those other teams in public, then hopefully we can get past that as faithful and come together and let's do what we need to do. And that's clearly to be in New Orleans and to raise that Lombardi trophy. Let's do this.
Yeah. Amen.
That was like a prayer. That was like a 49er prayer right there, huh?
Yeah, we should have lit some candles while we were at it. I mean, this is how we get ready for the season.
Candle.
There we go. This is how we get ready for the season. This is how we get ready to get our hearts broken again, but hopefully this time not. I say it all the time. This is a toxic relationship. We get pulled back in every time they do us wrong. Here we are back again. So yeah, we're back for the ride. And look, I've been obviously following this team for some time now. I was at training camp, and I'll have to say, at training camp, because of all the uncertainty, it felt like a cloud kind of hanging over it. And I said to myself, maybe I'm projecting some of that onto the team, and maybe they're not actually feeling that way. But that was my sense. So I look at it, and I was thinking, I don't know if this team is better. I know they could be good, but I don't know if they're better. I will say this, though. Matt Barrows, beat reporter. He's been a beat reporter for the 49ers for quite some time now. He actually had to say this on KNBR yesterday. he said, quote, "This is the best 49ers roster I've seen since I've started covering the team in 2002. From Matt
Wow.
Barrows. That is wild because I
Yeah.
think about some of the teams and particularly like the Shanahan teams since like 2019. There's been a few where I think you can look at and be like, I think that's one of the best rosters the 49ers have had. Certainly one of the best rosters Shanahan has had. But he's saying this about this 2024 team. Why? I mean, I don't know. Why do you think that is? Because I think I still have some questions about this team.
I actually probably would tend to agree. Um, I mean, we are stacked on both sides of the ball. And when I say stacked, I mean literally we have one of the best linebackers, we have the best running back, we have the best tight end, we have
It's
a
true.
quarterback
Yeah.
who just hasn't even had the respect that he deserves. I mean, we could go down the line. We're getting players back. Hufunga's coming back. Greenlaw should come back. And don't forget, everybody forgets that Super Bowl. I would just everybody talks about, Kyle Shanahan play, but when Greenlaw got hurt, that's when the field opened up for the Chiefs. And to have him back is going to be huge. I do think that we have the best roster in a long time. In fact, I even wanted to go back and look at the Super Bowl, the 80s, right? We had the Joe Montana, Ronnie Lott, Roger Craig.
Yeah.
I mean, we were stacked then, and we got Super Bowl rings. We got Super Bowl rings, and let's be honest. We should have had at least
two, maybe
two
even
more,
three.
maybe even three. So the roster is there, and the fact that we have the highest cap space is insane. Thank you, Brock Purdy, by accident. You know what I mean? But I would have to tend to agree. I mean, and Steph, what do you think? I mean, what team besides the 1989 and 84, what team is better than this roster right now?
It's really hard to say. I mean, I definitely feel like last year's team, at least going into it, you felt like it was the best team on paper. Absolutely was the best team on paper that season, 2023, compared to all the other teams. I will say this, you make a good point. It's more or less the same team as last year. This
Pretty
offense
much.
is effectively the same when we're looking at the starters, right?
Right.
Really, the only difference in the starters, I think, is Dominic Pooney. And I think we can safely say that Dominic Pooney, better right guard from what we've seen than Spencer Burford. Right?
Yeah.
So
and he looks great.
He looks great. So I think from that sense, yeah, I think this offense could be better. You also talk about, Brock Purdy having a full off season with this team, with himself not having to rehab anything. He can actually work out some kinks within his game, throwing motion, things like that. All the things that, quarterbacks work on in the off season to improve. Brock finally has that. And yeah, it's mostly the same offense. So on offense, I think I feel really great about it. I think some of the questions I have are on the defensive side of the ball where, hands down, the secondary is better. I think the cornerback room got deeper. I guess my question is, without Eric Armstead, what is that going to look like? Is the run defense going to be improved? So I still have those questions.
Right.
But, Vader 49er made a good point here. He trusts Barrows' assessment. I'll say this. I was at camp a couple weeks, right? And even then, you don't get to go to all the practices. I was just at the practices that were open to fans. You're not as close to the action. Barrows is there every day of camp. And even, through the preseason, all that. Through the season, also, they get to see this team up close. So I think I do trust his assessment on this as well. And for him to say this, best team since 2002 that he's covered, that says a lot. And that gives me a lot of confidence going into this week 1 game. So I'm happy about that.
Right. Yeah, me too. And I mean, this is the year. And I mean, everyone's saying it. We're saying it. I mean, this is going to be a huge year for the San Francisco 49ers. We have an older roster, one of the oldest in the league, I believe. Kittle's up. We say older for the new fans that might be listening. If you're 30, you're old in this league. Okay.
We know how it is.
Well, we don't say, oh, so it's gonna be. I think for the guys like Kittle and the Debo, they know that their career, you don't get a lot of time, you don't get a lot of chances to come back to a Super Bowl. You just don't,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of things out of your hands that you can't control: quarterbacks, injuries, contracts. And I think they're going to be really excited to get another chance with almost the same exact team that they had last year. And Kyle, let's get that monkey off your back, my brother. Let's
Need
get
it.
that monkey off. I'm going to cry of happiness when we are in New Orleans and we raise that, Steph. Can we cry together?
I'll be crying. I'll be crying. I guess win or
Okay.
lose, I'd cry, but I want to
Yeah,
cry for
no
the good
matter what.
reason.
I just want to make sure we're there, and I'm excited. But yeah, I'm excited for the roster that we have, and again, hashtag stay healthy.
Ooh, that's a big one. Hashtag stay healthy for sure. So the other Matt Maiocco, who's been covering this team for a long time as well, he had to say this on one of the latest 49ers training camp lives. I believe this was like a month or so ago. He had to say this. I'll just play the clip real quick.
A lot of people who wonder about the offensive line, I would say, and I think I would say it with a certain amount of confidence, that I think offensively they can be better at every position group this year than over last year, because they really don't have any declining players. I mean, their veterans are still veterans who are at a high level. Maybe they're near the top, or maybe they're, but I don't think this year is the year that those guys start going downhill.
Yeah, I don't think I see decline from guys like George Kittle or Kyle Juszczyk, who have so much experience and they're kind of the leaders and veterans on the team.
A lot of people who wonder.
Yeah, that's kind of what we were saying too about the offense. Oh, sorry, was I not sharing the screen?
No, but I heard it.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, sorry about that, guys.
No,
But
it's okay.
yeah, no, that's pretty much what we were saying about the offense. Offense definitely could be better. We still have some questions about the defense, but I think those will sort themselves out, and some of those questions will get answered as soon as this week 1 game against the Jets. But before we get to the defense a little bit, I did want to just mention this cool kind of fact about Christian McCaffrey. He's always chasing history, this guy. Like, I feel like almost every game it's like CMC has the chance to do this thing that's never been done before, this thing that only 3 other people have done. And this time it is, if he gets 1 touchdown reception, he will be the 3rd NFL player with 50 career rushing touchdowns and 30 career receiving touchdowns. The only guys in that club as of right now are Marshall Faulk and Lenny Moore. They're both in the Hall of Fame. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey well on his way to being there as well, but just 1 touchdown reception. I don't know. I think he gets it, right, Monica?
Oh, he's going to get it. The Kyle will make sure that he gets that reception. And I would prefer it to be Monday night. Let's just get that out of the way right off the bat. Let's go. But what an amazing, I'm so happy for Christian. I mean, that guy works so hard. And when he came from, his previous team, I mean, he was still putting up numbers, and that, the Panthers weren't really in the conversation. So for him to come to the Niners and still do what he does, what a blessing. And shout out to John Lynch and Kyle and everybody in the front office for making that trade happen. That was one of the best things that I think has happened to us in the last few years.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, this team has made a lot of trades that I think have, in the grand scheme of things, have gone a little underrated. Like, even the Trent Williams trade is like way up there. That was highway robbery. And this one, of course, I mean, it just changed the trajectory of this offense completely. I don't know
100.
what this offense would be without Christian McCaffrey. So, and yeah, he's still so young. So there's still a lot of history to be made with the 49ers, with Christian McCaffrey. So yeah, definitely hope he gets this one catching tutty on Monday night,
Teddy.
prime time, so they can actually, mention it on the broadcast as well. And hopefully he has
Yes.
a touchdown dance or celebration.
It
for
wouldn't
this
shock
one.
me if Kyle has a specific play for this, by the way. Wouldn't shock me.
Do you think that Kyle is privy to these like little historic tidbits and like that, McCaffrey has a chance to do this?
I think he hears about it. I don't think he cares much, to be honest. And I say that
Yeah,
in a
that's
nice
fine.
way. You know what I mean? But I think, when you hear something like that, you might want to go, okay, let's put on a special play for this. Let's call it, whatever, the tutty, whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, I think he has his eye on it. I think he has the pulse, but I think overall he has his plan and he's going to stick to it.
Yeah, I think so too. It isn't going to be easy though. Like honestly, this Jets defense is solid, and that is with
Yes.
last season they were already solid, and as we know, it wasn't a good offense. So when you're a really good defense, even with a bad offense, like you are solid. So I think this year, assuming that they have a better offense with Aaron Rodgers, I think they're going to be way more balanced as a team as a whole, and that could make their defense even scarier. So, yeah, their defensive line is crazy. You got Quinnen Williams. You got former 49er Javon Kinlaw up in the middle. He's going to be clogging some things up. And they got two really good edge rushers as well. So it's not going to be, flowers and rainbows for Christian McCaffrey in this game. Kyle Shanahan's going to have to scheme some stuff up to get, or, run to the left side. You just paid Trent Williams a whole lot of money. So might as well get it some good use, right?
100%. And this is going to be a really good indicator of both teams. Both teams, I think, need to come out and really get that W. And for the Jets, it's going to be very important for them because of everything you just talked about. Rodgers not playing last year. The defense is so strong. I mean, they are one of the top 5 for sure. And you're going against the best offense, so the best defense versus the best offense, I think is going to be the perfect game for Monday night. Like the perfect game. And for the Niners, like you said, I think it's also going to shine a light on our defense. We're playing against one of the GOATs, right? Who has been doing nothing but trying to rehab and do everything in his power to get back. He's going to have something to prove. He's going to come back to the Bay Area, so to speak. He has roots there. So he's going to want to kill us, Steph. Let's be honest.
I mean, he's always wanted to, but can he is the question. We know.
And we're going to want to, hey, don't forget, we got Floyd now.
That's
right?
true. That's so crazy.
So
right?
I'm going to just let Floyd handle that.
Let him loose.
Let him loose.
I'm not wishing for any injury on Aaron Rodgers.
No injury, just
to
sack.
Get a sack. If Leonard Floyd gets a sack on Aaron Rodgers, that place is going to erupt. Like
nuts.
it's going to be crazy. And Aaron Rodgers is going to be looking out for that. We got a question from Frederick Scott here. He says, why do the sports analysts talk down on Brock Purdy? This has just been a thing always. And I don't know. I think it's because of where he was drafted. I think a lot of people think that the shoe will eventually drop and he'll eventually be bad. So they've been hoping and waiting for that so they can be right. And it just hasn't happened yet. So at some point, they just got to give it up.
And it always shocks me because I always want to look at him and go, excuse me, Tom Brady, 6th round pick.
Yeah.
Why is this even a discussion? Like, you're looking at the GOAT who was not a top pick. Like, why is it so difficult for people to believe that Brock is Brock? Now, listen, if I wish he had a few more inches on him, that's the only thing you can say about Brock, and that's something he can't control. And look out for this, Steph, because I would like to talk to you about this. It was driving me crazy during the playoffs last year. I don't know. I just remember watching it. I was there in person, and on the first halves, we were down, and Brock wasn't dropping back. And it was driving me insane. Balls were getting, knocked down, these kind of things. And I remember George Kittle talking about it, how Brock's really good at finding those little open windows, right? So I'm hoping that, we do something a little different this year on that dropping back, because we started doing better when he dropped back a couple of steps, because he is a shorter quarterback. It is what it is. It doesn't mean, he's putting up numbers at 6 whatever, so I'm not worried about, but Tom Brady definitely has inches on him, and it doesn't mean that you can't put up the numbers if you're a shorter quarterback, but you do have to look at that when I'm sure Kyle understands that. But to answer that gentleman's question, I think mainly because he, didn't come from like a big name college team. You know what I mean? He's not Roll Tide. He's not Bama, and I think Mr. Irrelevant, so to speak, last pick, they just can't believe it's true. Well, guess what? It's true. This is a bad man. Brock Purdy, and I have said this, Steph, from day one. I haven't rode the train from day one. If you watched him, the confidence he had in the pocket, the leadership he showed in the huddle, the first huddle, even George Kittle talks about it. He told them to be quiet. I'm talking here. And George was like, oh, okay. Look at the rookie.
He's like, all right, you might keep one now.
Yeah. So I'm excited for him, and he's going to get his bag. And it couldn't happen to a nicer guy. And I hope he still stays with his Coles in his little backpack and doesn't change who he is, because we love our Brock.
Yeah, he's definitely one of one for this team. And on the drop back stuff, like, that's interesting because JT O'Sullivan, who has, his show, The QB School on YouTube, he hates when the 49ers do like the 7-step drops, because he's like, that's just so much depth. Like, why do you need all that? But you bring up a good point. Like, maybe that is to kind of create some space for Brock to get the ball off, because he does get balls batted down. I've noticed that.
I wonder what the stats are on that. I would like to look that up. And when I say drop back, like, can I get like three little steps? I don't need 7. Can we do a little?
Yeah, you're like,
hybrid?
7 is too much.
That's too much.
It is too much. But, it's not just Brock. I feel like a lot of people are maybe just starting to sour on the 49ers a little bit. Maybe they're just tired of the 49ers being good. Like, that I get. The latest Pro Football Talk, because you guys know, like, we talk about this a lot. Mike Florio, not the biggest 49er fan, or at the very least, he uses the 49ers as kind of like clickbait. He'll say one thing to piss off the fan base, and he's getting a bunch of engagement, bunch of angry 49er fans in the replies and whatnot. So his latest stunt here, he had a playoff prediction for 2024, and you see he has the 49ers as the 2nd seed, Seahawks as the 7th. That's the wild card game. He has them winning that one, the 49ers, but he has them losing to the Bucks in the divisional round.
That is blasphemy.
It's crazy. Like,
I don't even have them in any game past. I don't have them playing past December. What is happening right now?
This is what I'm talking about. This is like just using the 49ers and just pissing people off on purpose to get engagement. At least that's what I think for Florio.
Looking at that hurts my heart. I'm just saying. I cannot see Green Bay beating the Niners. I just can't. I get what happened last year. They played great. Do not get me wrong. The Packers and Detroit are going to be great. I get it. But that just looks so weird to me.
It does. And, no surprise. Hot take here. He has the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl again. I just need that to not happen, because I don't need them to repeat.
It cannot happen.
It can't happen. So,
no. Although, don't get me started, but the league better be fair this year.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that's always a thing.
I mean,
It's
Jesus.
always a thing. Now, guys, if you haven't yet, download the Locker app because 49K is a partnership with Locker. Download the app, search league name 49K. We're going to have a lot of fun competing against each other, weekly contests. Use a promo code LFG50 and you'll receive a first deposit match up to $50. So make sure you do that and we'll have some fun this year. All right. Now, as I was saying, like it's not just the Mike Florios of the world, although he also put out a power rankings for week 1 and the 49ers are number 4 on his power rankings list. He has Chiefs number 1, Lions 2, Packers 3, 49ers 4. Like what? I'm sorry. Like what did we're going into week 1. Like what did the Lions and Packers do in the offseason that made them better? than the
I think
49ers?
they're still stuck on we should have lost those 2 games instead of looking at it like, no, we came from behind. Like we showed a Super Bowl caliber team how we play in the playoffs, right? So I think they're still holding on to kind of what they feel should have happened last year. That's, we hear that a lot. Oh, it should have happened. Okay, I get that. I do get that because we should have won the Super Bowl. But like you said, I don't know that there was enough of an off season to match those numbers.
Right. Exactly. I mean, we're really just talking about drafts, off-season moves that could make a team better. And I don't know, like, I could believe that the Lions and Packers got better this offseason, but better than the 49ers, I don't know, because, like, the 49ers got better this offseason, too. So what are we doing here? And then I forget, I think you shared this one on your Instagram, Monica, the Football Forever, I think is their name on Instagram.
Right.
Their power rankings, they got Chiefs number 1, 2 Ravens, and then 3 49ers. Look, I have no issues with the Chiefs being number 1. I think that makes plenty of sense.
Right.
For the obvious reasons, and Ravens, like, okay, sure. They did lose their defensive coach, though, this offseason. We don't know what that's going to look like. His 49ers have a new defensive coordinator too, but I think we're assuming it's going to be better for the 49ers. So I don't know. There's just a lot of this going on. A lot of this going on that I'm seeing just people kind of over.
And I'm sorry,
the 49ers
when it comes to the Ravens, I feel like they're just never consistent. They've got all these great parts, but to me, I would never bet on them because they just never seem to be consistent. I don't see them. I don't see them in the championship game versus the Chiefs. I think it's going to be somebody else. I think Bengals are going to come on. I don't know that Buffalo is going to do it, but I don't know. Burrow, I think he needs to get that monkey off his back because he does well.
You guys.
In regular season, and then it comes to the when it matters, you gotta that's the difference between the Hall of Famer guys and not, is what can you do in the big games when it matters.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's a lot of guys on the AFC that just can't really get that monkey off their back, like Lamar 2-4 in the playoffs. You talk about Burrow. Josh Allen can't get the Patrick Mahomes monkey off his back either, and so yeah, it's tough for the guys in the AFC. That I do feel for them. So, but in the regular season, sure, they're good teams. But yeah, there's obviously a lot of questions about a lot of teams right now because no one really knows what teams are going to look like until they start playing in week 1. So week 1 is always a very weird week because I've been preparing for our new segment here for this show, Trash Talk Thursday. And what I want it to be is just looking at what fans of the opposing team are saying about the 49ers, are saying about the matchup of that week. So I went over to Jets Reddit And
I love you, girl. I love it.
honestly though, like week 1 is so weird because like it doesn't even feel like they know what to expect out of their team. And that I get, the way their season went last year, where Aaron Rodgers 4 plays in, it's like, okay, there's always next year. Now it's next year. They're excited about that. But I think they don't want to get their hopes up too high is kind of my sense. So let's get into Trash Talk Thursday. And I think as the weeks go on, these segments will probably get better. Again, it's week 1. I'm not too sure. It's pretty mellow. I saw this thread that says from a Jets fan, actually kind of shocked how confident 49er fans are over in their sub about the game Monday. Like, yeah, I'd be cocky if my team was as consistently good as theirs, but geez, some got us losing like 48-3 and saying there's no way Brock Purdy doesn't put up at least 30. And then someone in response said, you'd think, and to some extent, I expect Purdy to have at least some difficulty with the Jets defense. I think these fans are just so rational. Like, for one, a 49ers fan predicting 48-3 is bananas. Not.
I was gonna say, I'm like, that's
sorry.
not us. No,
Yeah,
I never said that.
That's a delusional fan.
Yeah, I'm like,
but there's
whoa.
always those. There's always those.
Yeah. We appreciate the confidence, but wow.
Yeah, exactly. And Brock Purdy putting up 30. I don't see that happening. I've mentioned it before, Monica. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game for the 49ers. And I think the Jets are going to find something to be confident about in this game. I don't think they're going to win, but I think there's reason for them to be optimistic and also like not get too excited either too.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I don't like low scoring games. I never hope for a low scoring game, but I don't know. 27-21 is coming to mind. I don't know why. I just feel like
Score? That's your prediction?
there'll be more. I just think there'll be more scoring than probably predicted. That one turnover, a couple of turnovers, and there's 14 points right there.
Yeah, could be.
I don't know.
I think
I could be wrong.
I'm expecting.
I'm never good at that. By the way,
defensive battle.
So what's your prediction?
I don't.
17-10.
Actually, so for this one, usually I hate score predictions,
Me
but
too.
I've in the last year I've forced myself to do them. So now I'm like, I'm not bad. So for this one, I'm saying 10-7. Low scoring game.
I gave you 17-10, but you said 10-7. Oh my goodness.
Low scoring game. Jake Moody field goal, some point in the fourth quarter. Diamador Lenore gets an interception at some point in this game, maybe in the fourth quarter. I'm thinking about it. That's what I'm thinking.
All right, I like this. We're on opposite sides. So next Thursday, we
I gotta write it down then. Let's write it down.
I got it.
Let's hold it.
And knowing us, it'll be right in the middle somewhere.
Yes, because we are very, very much extreme. So,
and I'm not very. Here's my disclaimer: I'm not good at betting or or score predictions. But I usually, when I'm forced to do them, like you, I do okay. But it's something I try not to do because I'm just focused on getting the win. You know what I mean? I'm stressed out enough just to win. I don't need to be stressed out about the score.
Yeah. I feel it. So what was your score again? I'm gonna write it down.
I know. I have no idea, but 21-27 is coming to me.
But Niners win, right?
Niners, of course.
So 27-21. Okay.
Yes.
Steve-O says 10-7 is the first quarter.
Right, Steve-O?
I think it's gonna be a defensive battle, but I guess we'll just have to see. But I got more of these posts from the lowly Jets fans to share here. So these I saw this morning, and they're all over the place. Like I said, like some are really optimistic, some are kind of fair weather, like, oh, we could lose, but we'll win the next 3 games. Like, okay, this one from Draco. He says, honestly, I'm very nervous just because they're such a good team. We'll know how we stack up immediately. The real James Hoffa says, we're going to win and make a statement. Totally PJ Souls says, we're going to get curb stomped. Very subtle. Master of My Domains, great username, by the way, says, we're going to get rocked. Impossible Act says, destroy them. Their interior OL is a real problem for them. And then following Aromatic says, we're going to win simply because we want it more. No way the team goes through all of this just to lose week 1. No way. My thought is, have you seen what the 49ers have gone through this offseason? You think the Jets, are the only team that has gone through stuff this offseason? I mean, okay, boo-hoo. Hassan Reddick hasn't signed yet.
Brandon hasn't caught a pass from Purdy since February.
Yeah, like you want to talk about adversity. I think the 49ers have some adversity. John Chapman in the chat. Thank you so much, John. I love you so much. You've always been a huge support. Go ahead, subscribe to 49ers Rush if you guys haven't yet.
What's up, John? Thank you so much, man. You were one of the first guy who supported Football is Sexy, and I want to thank you. Same with you, Steph. I appreciate both of you because that support has meant the world to me. So I see you both, obviously with Steph, but thank you, John.
Yeah, John is the best. He supports everybody, and I mean, that's how it should be. Doesn't have to be a competition out here. He says, shout out Steph and Monica for the awesome show.
There's enough room for everybody.
And yes, 49ers are better this year. He says, yeah, I'm liking the vibes. I'm liking the vibes from everyone. I think this last week has really got me back in the spirit of feeling confident about this team again. You know, I feel like I really needed that, and I'm excited.
Steph, who was your biggest loss this offseason? Who were you most afraid of after we lost them? What concerned you the most?
I want to say Eric Armstead, but at the same time, you know, he missed a lot of games before going into the playoffs. And I think, you know, the team got by. You know, they were able to get by without him. And so I think they'll be able to take that and adjust, right? I think they're going to go by committee. You're not going to replace a guy like Eric Armstead with just one guy, right? But they really didn't lose that many guys. And I'm thinking like, ooh, that's going to hurt, you know? I'm trying to remember. And that's like the biggest question mark that I still have.
Yeah, he was a staple.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, like, on the offensive side, like I said, it's usually like all those starters are pretty much back. And a guy that they haven't lost, but he's still on the team, but they lost due to injury, like Greenlaw. That's a huge loss, you know?
Huge.
He'll be back. He'll be back eventually this season. Oh, I don't know what he's going to look like when he's back, right?
Right.
But that's a huge loss.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for Hufanga to be back, who seems like he'll be back.
Me too.
I don't think he'll be back week 1, but he'll be back pretty soon, I think. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys have kept the live chat popping today. I love morning shows. I feel like we're just like a little family getting ready for work right now. So thank you guys for tuning in to this right now. And one more thing, going back to what the Jets fans were saying about this matchup. It seems like some of them do know that the interior of our offensive line is not the best, and that could be a bit of a struggle. I'm going to be honest. I was thinking about this matchup for the 49ers and the defensive line, offensive line matchup for the 49ers. And I'm thinking, what's the over-under on Brock Purdy's sacks taken in this game? And I'm like, okay, if it's at 2.5, are you taking the over or the under? 2.5 sacks for Purdy, over or under?
If I'm a betting person, and not obviously I don't want any, but I mean, 3 could happen.
3
could happen. And I say that because, and I'll tell you this, when I was watching the preseason games and the few plays that Brock got to, first of all, I was like, wait a minute, why is Brock getting hurt on this preseason? Like he was kind of getting pushed around a little bit. on those couple of preseason games. I didn't like watching it. I was like, can you please take him out now?
Right.
I don't want sacks, but I think that over and under is right there, to be honest, like 2. I could see 3. I could see 3, but still pulling out a win. And that's worst case, clearly. But you are going against one of the best defenses. And we do have, Trent's just getting back. So I feel like there might be a little bit of kinks that the Niners O-line need to work out together. So I'm not hoping for that, but could it happen? Yes.
Yeah, so some of you in the chat are chiming in on this too. A few of you are saying under. We have an over from Travis. So earlier this week, and mind you, this was before Trent Williams rejoined the team. I didn't know, like, I think I was with you, Monica, that it's like, I knew they would get it done, but I didn't know when. And I knew that Trent was willing to, miss games, right? So I was like, oh, if they don't get this done this week, like, we might not have Trent week 1. That's bad. I could see 4 sacks in this game if Trent's not there. Like, it's not going to be good. Now that he's back, all right, I'm still going to go over on that. I'm still going to say 3. I'm with you. I think 3 is a number. And I think because, look, Brock is so good at, like, escaping pressure, and we know he's nimble, he be scooting out there. He uses his legs pretty well. But if the Jets get some interior pressure, it's a little harder to do that sometimes.
And don't forget, we're talking about, you just kick out his legs. That's a sack.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be this huge, on the ground pancake sack that could happen.
Yep. And as Travis says, he's predicting that the Jets will be blitzing a lot. But I don't know about that, because Brock is actually really good against the blitz. So maybe do that at your own risk. But they also have a really good secondary, so maybe they feel strong enough about that.
I think they're going to come. I agree with Travis. I think they're going to come for Brock 100%. 100%. Yeah. Don't forget who's on that other sideline. It's Robert Saleh, right?
Exactly.
And he's going to want to win this game more than any. I don't care what he says. We know this. It's always going to be a little bit of a rivalry there. I think we've got to be ready. This defense is going to want to show off on Monday night, and it's going to be a battle. I can't wait, and I'm going to be there in person to witness it.
This is a great stat from Paul here. Paul Hope. Shout out Paul Hope, man. He's watching from the UK. He said earlier it's 5:00 somewhere. I'm assuming it's 5:00 in UK right now, Paul, and that's why he said that. Always a real one tuning in. He said they've lost 9.5 sacks from last year on free agent departures. So, I mean, that's important. 19.5 sacks went to another team. But, so.
The Jets?
The Jets.
I like that.
So that's something. And yes, Hassan Reddick, obviously, no Hassan Reddick is a big deal. I just have questions about Jake Brendel. I have questions about Colton McKivitz. Like Aaron Banks, didn't participate in much of the preseason, or like, I don't think he participated at all in the preseason, maybe one of the games because of his injury. So he's back now, but how is he rusty? Is Trent going to be rusty? I trust Trent, but it's like this is a tough matchup for him too. So I don't know. I'm still going to go with 3. I love the optimism here. And like I said, my score prediction, I think, reflects just the hard fought battle of a game. And KJ says, will Saleh and Shanahan be yelling across field at each other? I hope so. I mean, old training camp battles die hard between those two. And this is Shanahan's first time playing against Robert Saleh, with Saleh being a head coach. So I'm sure both sides are going to have some tricks up their sleeve for each other. So we'll see how it plays out. But I'm looking forward to this game, of course. Bless you, Monica.
Excuse me. Thank you. Sorry, I'm allergic to talking about the Jets. Not getting I'm allergic to talking about the Jets at all, actually. Oh my goodness.
You know what? Let's just move on.
And my
from
ex
that
is a
then.
Jet, so I need this
Oh.
game personally. Let's start there.
Okay, yeah. So again, let's light those candles and, words of affirmation for the 49ers.
That's what I'm gonna add. I'm gonna get me a Niner candle. And I love Prince, but I think we need a Niner candle.
I love it. Yeah, I'll send you one.
Okay.
All right.
Do it.
All right. I'm ready for this next segment because this next segment's going to be a new one for Thursdays as well. Really excited about it. $10 trivia. If you guys have a Venmo or Zelle account, participate. If you don't, it's going to be really difficult for you to do this because I can't send you money. I'm not going to send you a check. Okay, I'm sorry. But if you have Zelle or Venmo, feel free to play the $10 trivia. So today's trivia question in the chat, first one who gets this right, how many NFC championship games did the 49ers host at Candlestick Park? First one to answer gets $10 sent over to them. We'll wait and see. I know the live chat's popping, so
that's a good one, Steph. I have no idea.
It is a tough one. When I saw it, I was like, that's the one. That's what we're gonna. I
have a number in my head. I'm going to write it down. I have a number in my head. I'm going to write it down.
Yeah, write it down.
We'll see if I'm right. Okay.
We'll do the grand reveal, but yeah. I mean, so KJ guesses 4. That's incorrect. First, get the guesses in, people. Keep guessing.
Oh, I thought it was 49ers host and win. It's just host.
No, host.
Got you. Oh,
How many NFC championship games did the 49ers host at Candlestick? Remember, people, the 49ers were a really good team back then when they had Candlestick, and Candlestick was there for quite some time. So let's get those guesses in.
Okay, now.
All right. We have it. Frederick Scott said 8. That is the answer.
Wow.
8. That's a lot, right?
Nice. I did not win that.
I was surprised by that. So Frederick, drop your Venmo or Zelle. I'm trying to think. Like if you have a Twitter or here, let me put my email in the chat. If you want to do Zelle, send me your phone number. That's my email, Frederick. So send that. If you do Zelle or if you do Venmo, put your Venmo in the chat and I'll send you the $10. That's going to be fun this season. This season is going to be fun, Monica. I feel it. I feel it in my bones, ready to get hurt again. And look, I mean, football starts tonight. I'm excited, even though it's 2 teams, like mostly the Chiefs. I'm gonna be just sick to watch them, but I'm gonna be happy because, football's back. Football's back. So
it's back.
Any predictions for that game?
I gotta go with the Chiefs, sadly. I mean, I would love to watch them lose on the opening night, but I just don't see it happening. At home, I just think that's a tall ask.
Yeah, I feel it. And I also saw that Taylor Swift is going to be there as well, so they're preparing for that. I know.
Got it.
Yeah, so
here we go. Here, Steph.
I know it's like, right? Oh
and
yeah,
Taylor Swift is gonna be there.
So that means that's back too. Ugh.
Yes.
Okay. Well, we're gonna have fun watching this game anyway. We're gonna have fun watching our team Monday night. And by the way, tomorrow gonna be doing my first preview show of the season, previewing week 1 with Kyle Posey, KP of Niners Nation. So make sure you guys tune in tomorrow, 2 p.m. Pacific, for that show. But for now, folks, from me, from Monica, have a good rest of your Thursday. Hope you liked the first Trash Talk Thursday. And we'll see you guys here next week, same time. All right? Peace.
Let's go, Niners. Bang, bang. Thank you, Steph.
Bang.
Woo-hoo. Let's go.